I don't care what you have to do. If it means walking everywhere and not eating anything that wasn't purchased with a coupon, find a way to get your hands on $100,000. After that, you can ease off the gas a little bit. That's a quote from billionaire investor and Warren Buffett's right-hand man, Charlie Munger. Charlie Munger has stated that the most difficult aspect of becoming wealthy is to amass $100,000 in a single year from scratch with no seed money. The next major barrier was making the first million. To achieve this, an individual must constantly underspend his earnings. Getting rich, according to Charlie Munger, is comparable to creating a perpetual motion machine. It takes a lot of energy and discipline. On the other hand, making an additional million is relatively easy. The key factor here is the ability to earn compound interest on one's existing capital and income. The ability to hit your first $100,000 is the most difficult aspect of building wealth. Of course, Munger isn't alone in this belief. People have been making this statement for decades. And I completely agree. The first step of building wealth is the hardest. Most people will never take that step. They might find 1,001 reasons to justify why they can't do it right now. But deep down, they're too lazy or just don't know where to start. Before I tell you the 6 reasons why making your first $100,000 is so hard, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe and click the bell, because it really does help out the channel and I appreciate it. And make sure you stay until the very end, because I've saved the biggest reason for last. Number 1. The first reason why reaching that first $100,000 is so difficult is that most people never even start the journey. The most challenging step is always the initial one. It doesn't matter what you're doing in life. Starting is both the most difficult and the most essential thing to do. If you're thinking of starting an online business, for example, then it's the first step that will determine whether or not you reach success. It doesn't matter if you have a brilliant idea. It doesn't matter how hard you are willing to work. If you don't take the first step, nothing else will happen. After all, you can't do anything if you don't take some action and make that first initial step. I don't care what it is you're trying to do. It might be learning a new skill, writing a book, or wanting to lose weight. Whatever your goal is, you have to take action and start. And the same can be said for investing. $100,000 might appear to look like Mount Everest from where you are now, but don't focus on that. Just focus on the first step. Number 2. The second reason why the first $100,000 is the hardest is because it requires a massive amount of change. People don't like change, but if you don't embrace it, you'll be stuck with what you've always had. You have to truly desire that $100,000. I mean, you really have to want it. You must be ready to completely revise your life and transform everything you've grown accustomed to. It's comforting to be familiar with things, but this familiarity may be preventing you from achieving your goals. You'll have to make significant changes in your life if you want to succeed. Instead of spending 100% or more of your money, you'll need to start saving and investing 50% or more of it. You'll need to develop a similar level of passion for stocks as many people do for material possessions. This implies that you see the stock market as the greatest store in the world, and equities as the greatest items on earth. Stocks will take the place of consumer products research, and money spent on investing will take the place of cash spent on consumer goods. Number 3. The third reason is that compounding doesn't begin to truly work until you've made your first $100,000. It's like anything else in life. The initial few steps are the most difficult. Investing isn't any different. Compound interest, according to Albert Einstein, is the world's 8th wonder. Compounding is as potent as it is astounding, but it needs a significant amount of money in order for compounding to make a substantial difference. I mean, until more than 30 years have passed, compounding $5,000 at a market average annual rate will not make any substantial impact on your net worth. But when you make your first $100,000, it's like someone has turned the volume up on compound interest, and all of a sudden, everything begins to be extremely loud. And this is why most people fail in reaching that first $100,000 mark. They simply aren't patient enough or willing to make the sacrifices that are required of them. You'll need to save about $100,000 before compounding can start working its magic. The necessity to save will create some unpleasant questions regarding your current lifestyle. The amount of money you need to save is rather high, and the truth is, it's probably higher than what you think. When you're working with a little sum of money, compounding can't help you much. As a result, it will be up to you to save as much money as possible. It's up to you to be responsible with your finances and quickly reach that $100,000 mark. And you can take it easy after you've earned $100,000. Charlie Munger said that once you've reached that first $100,000, you may ease off the gas. At this point, compounding really starts to kick in. Compounding $100,000 with a market average return of 10% per year for 20 years will result in almost $675,000. You can start young and make $100,000. Then once you've made that first $100,000, you can cruise the rest of your life. That's how crucial that first $100,000 is. To start your compounding snowball, you must first collect the snow, or money, and put in that effort to build it up, mold it into something, and then roll it down a hill. However, the larger this snowball grows and the faster it rolls, the less work you have to put into it. At a certain point, you won't even need to push. Rather, it will grow to enormous proportions on its own, rolling faster and bigger all by itself. Number 4. The fourth reason why making your first $100,000 is so hard is because most individuals fail to discover how to save more than they earn. It requires planning a budget, paying off debt, establishing an emergency fund, and then investing. I believe this isn't difficult, rather it requires willpower, perseverance, and consistency. The most important aspect is that the amount you save early on in your path to financial independence significantly outweighs any investment gains. Let's try some numbers in our simple investing calculator. If you save $1,000 each year and earn 8% return, it will take 28.62 years to build the first $100,000. However, saving $5,000 per year lowers the time to 12.68 years, and saving $10,000 per year knocks it down to 8 years. However, if your return rises by 10% each year, it will take you 7.55 years to earn $100,000. There's one more aspect to consider in this example. It is never too late to begin. Starting early is a good idea, but even if you begin at age 40, it will only take you about 8 years to make your first $100,000 and be in a decent position by the time you are 60 or 65. Number 5. The fifth reason the first $100,000 is the hardest is because some people never learn how to invest. They just jump in and make a lot of mistakes, in my opinion. The way I see it, this is not a good strategy since real money is on the line. If you want to learn more about investing and dividends, I recommend enrolling in a class, reading books, or taking an online course. Before I move on to the most important reason why the first $100,000 is the hardest, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe and click the bell, because it really does help out the channel and I appreciate it. Also, type the word yes down in the comments below if you're ready to start your journey toward your first $100,000. Number 6. The sixth reason why the first $100,000 is the hardest is because some people don't keep investing and leverage compounding's power. They don't allow their money to work for them. This is an essential component of wealth accumulation. The power of compounding begins to have an impact at $100,000. A 3% dividend yield on $100,000 is $3,000. When that $3,000 is reinvested, it increases your overall value and the following year's dividend begins to work for you. The following year, that $3,000 becomes $3,090. Not a bad return on an investment. It all depends on how much time you're willing to give it and whether or not you have the willpower to stick with it. Your money grows when you use it effectively. If done correctly, your second $100,000 will be earned more quickly than your first $100,000. There are also additional investment alternatives if you start with $100,000 to begin with. In the long run, your savings and investments snowball as the years go by. And then before you know it, you just might be a millionaire. When you're busy investing your money, running a business, and juggling family tasks, it can be hard to stay on top of everything and get everything done. So if you want to learn how to be incredibly productive and get things done faster and more efficiently, click the video on the screen. Here I share with you the secret to getting things done in the most efficient and productive way. So that way you can manage all of your business tasks and make as much money as possible. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.